My name is Nadia Greer, and I'm 38 years old. Competence doesn't strut, it calibrates. The dishwasher drops into off-peak at 12:01 because I asked it to months ago. The last cell on my budget glides into green. My home steadies, ballast in a skittish world. No one thanks ballast until the boat lists. Tonight, the boat listed in my own living room. Marcus, my boyfriend of 5 years, chose the word intervention. That should have been my first clue. He sat a little too tall on the edge of the sofa, performing authority in a shirt he'd never ironed himself. Beside him, his mother, Marjorie Bell, 62, folded her hands like a judge who loved the sound of her own gavel. "Nadia," Marcus began, voice faux gentle, "we need to talk about our future, our financial future." Of course, the future always shows up when someone has discovered your present. Marjorie leaned forward, a waft of drugstore perfume and something lemony, antiseptic and sour. "I've been looking at your numbers." The room's temperature changed a half degree. "My numbers?" I asked, and tasted metal along the back of my tongue. Marcus's knee bounced, the tell he thinks I don't notice. "I may have mentioned the approximate size of your brokerage account," he said. "Mom thinks you're being, well, too passive." "Oh, my portfolio, premarital, self-funded, low-cost, boring on purpose, the kind of boring that buys time and choices." Marjorie's mouth shaped a half smile. "Your returns are pitiful, just pitiful. You're letting that money sleep. If you let me manage that portfolio, I could double it. 18 months. Easy." "Double," I repeated, as if the word were a species migrating through the room. "How?" She sniffed. "The market is hot. I've got 4 biotech picks, primed to explode. We're talking 500% territory. But first, access, the passwords, the logins, all of it." Marcus's face hardened one notch. "This is for us. Mom is going to be our financial advisor." I turned to him. "She is?" Marjorie beamed. "I completed an intensive online certificate last month." "A certificate," I said, "not a CFA." She tutted. "Sweetheart, you're hiding behind acronyms. What you need is velocity." They both looked at me, expectant, hungry, a little shiny around the eyes. It wasn't about family or future. It was about control. The coup sat between us, pretending to be brunch. I smiled. It was a warm, relieved smile, the kind that makes people think you've surrendered. "Honestly," I said, letting my shoulders drop, "I'm glad. An advisor in the family. I've been stressed about consolidating the old 401k rollovers. It's a mess. If we're doing this, we should do it right, officially. Paperwork, titles, a meeting." Marjorie brightened as if the lights obeyed her. "Yes, respect, professionalism." "And a timeline," Marcus added, trying on command. "Tomorrow?" I patted my pockets, as if a password might fall out like lint. "Not over coffee," I said. "Let me organize the accounts, and I'll have my attorney draw things up. Designate you properly. We'll sign. We'll be aligned." Marjorie's eyes glittered. "Perfect. The passwords at the meeting, then?" "Yes," I said, "at the meeting." After they left, Marjorie with her leather folio, Marcus with his victory shoulders, I washed the 2 glasses they hadn't offered to carry to the sink. Hot water, lemon, off-peak. The house hummed as if nothing had tilted. Then I called Avery Stein, my attorney. "It's late," she said. "What happened?" "Hostile fantasy," I said, "from my boyfriend and his newly minted financial advisor mother. I need an irrevocable trust, funded today with my entire premarital portfolio." "Breakup incoming?" Avery asked. "Almost certainly, but first, architecture." She paused. I could hear the soft rasp of her pen. "Trustee, independent third party, bonded, no access for me, no access for anyone named Bell. Income and dividends? Reinvested, everything back into principal. Beneficiary?" I looked at the lemon slice floating in the sink and felt an odd, dislocated calm. "Marcus," I said, "sole beneficiary." Avery inhaled. "Nadia, that's backstop patience. The clause matters." "The clause," she repeated, voice gone careful. "One trigger," I said. "The trust dissolves and pays out only upon receipt of a legally certified death certificate for Marjorie Bell." There was a silence I could have parked a car in. "Nadia," Avery said finally, and I heard it, the smile she keeps for clients who come in scorched but lucid. "You're building a mirror." "I'm building an incentive," I said, "for her to live a very long, very healthy life." "Understood," she said. "I'll pull in our estates partner to serve as trustee. We can fund it by morning if you wire before 9. I'll also set a meeting for next Tuesday. Invite Marcus and Marjorie as if this is routine asset management. Good, I said. I'll bring a bag. For afterward? For peace. I dried my hands. The lemon smell clung to my fingers, bright and almost sweet. Avery, I want the whole thing ironclad. It will be, she said. Send me your current statements tonight. And Nadia? Yes. Say as little as possible until the room has walls and witnesses. Of course. I slept lightly, not from fear, but from the odd clarity that comes when the map clicks into focus. In the morning, I wired the funds. By 10, Avery texted, "Transfer complete, trust active." She added, "Trustee, Claremont and Cole, LLP. Tuesday, 2:00 p.m., Conference A." When Marcus got home that night, he kissed my cheek like a man already congratulated by the universe. "Mom's making a list of first-day buys," he said. "We should bring her your laptop to the meeting." "Let's keep it tidy," I said and smiled. One handover, one signature, one future. He didn't hear the hinges on the word. Over the next few days, Marjorie texted me links to YouTube profits and a photo of a blazer with padded shoulders for the meeting. Marcus pestered about passwords with the focus of a child on Christmas Eve. I watered the plants. I stacked my documents in a neat folder labeled "For Show." I packed a small duffel, charger, toothbrush, 3 days of clothes, and left it in the trunk of my car beneath a picnic blanket. On Monday night, I cooked pasta with garlic and crushed tomatoes. Marcus twirled his fork, lecturing me about opportunity cost as if the phrase had never bruised anyone. "You'll see," he said through a grin. "This is going to change everything." "I know," I said, and meant it. Tuesday came clean and ordinary. I wore a navy dress that looked like a decision. At 1:54 p.m., we rode the elevator to Claremont and Cole. The carpet was so soft it felt like consent. The receptionist offered water. Marjorie declined with a wave that said she expected champagne later. When Mr. Cole, the trustee partner, entered Conference A, he looked exactly like someone entrusted with other people's sleep. Crisp, courteous, faintly disappointed by excess. Avery followed, eyes steady, a stack of documents in her arms. We took our seats. Marcus squeezed my knee under the table, as if we were a team. Marjorie set her leather folio down and slid a sheet across the polished wood toward Mr. Cole without waiting to be asked. "Priority acquisitions," she said. "Time is alpha." Mr. Cole, without looking at the page, slid it back to her as if returning a napkin. "Thank you. We're here to finalize trust formalities." "Right," Marjorie said, smile faltering, recalibrating, and then passwords. Avery folded her hands. "Let's begin." The pen in my fingers felt heavier than it should have, like a small, necessary anchor. Outside the glass, the city kept moving, oblivious and loud. Inside, we created a different kind of noise. Dates, signatures, acknowledgments. At some point, Marcus reached again for my knee. I moved my hand, and he found the edge of the table instead. Mr. Cole cleared his throat. "Now, as trustee, I'll walk through the trust's operative terms so everyone is aligned." Marjorie leaned forward, chin lifted. Marcus smoothed his tie he never wore except to borrow legitimacy. I sat very still. Stillness is not surrender. It is stagecraft. "First," Mr. Cole said, "the corpus has been fully transferred and is now held by Claremont and Cole. All income, dividends, and gains will be reinvested into the principal. There are no permitted withdrawals of any kind." Marcus blinked. Marjorie's pen ticked once against the folio. "Second," he continued, "the trust has a single-name beneficiary, Mr. Marcus Bell." Marcus smiled at his mother, then at me. Marjorie exhaled smug relief. "See," her expression said, "we are the adults in the room." "And third," Mr. Cole said, sliding on reading glasses, "the trust contains one, and only one, disbursement clause." Avery looked at me. I kept my face quiet as winter. "The trust will dissolve," Mr. Cole read, "and pay out the entire principal plus all accrued gains to the beneficiary upon receipt by the trustee of a legally certified, state-issued death certificate for Mrs. Marjorie Eleanor Bell." The room did not breathe. Marjorie stopped blinking first. Her face moved through 3 shades of disbelief, pride curdling, confusion cracking, fury blooming. Marcus's smile held, brittle and delayed, as if waiting for a punchline that didn't arrive. "Nadia," Marjorie said softly, dangerously, "what did you do?" I placed my pen on the table and finally let my voice be heard. You wanted to advise the family's most valuable asset, Marjorie. Now you are it. I smiled again. Not warm this time. Accurate. Shall we proceed? I asked. Silence can scream louder than words. The air in the conference room turned dense enough to chew. Marjorie's lips moved first, but sound came later, like an echo trying to find its way home. I don't understand, she stammered. My death certificate? Are you saying the money releases when I'm dead? Mr. Cole nodded with professional calm. Correct, Mrs. Bell. The payout clause is contingent on your passing. Until then, all gains are retained and reinvested for the benefit of your son. Her chair squeaked backward. That's obscene. That's a death clause. Marcus blinked fast, the way he does when his brain is buffering. Wait, what do you mean, Mom's death? Nadia, what kind of sick joke is this? I folded my hands, steady. Not a joke, an incentive. You both said my money was sleeping. Now it has a heartbeat. Marjorie pointed a trembling finger at me. You're wishing me dead. No, I said softly. I'm wishing you a long, healthy life. The longer you live, the more the fund compounds. Every breath you take grows your son's future. You should thank me. Avery hid her mouth behind a cough. Mr. Cole did not smile, but the corner of his glasses caught a glint of amusement. Marcus pushed back from the table. You can't do this. You can't lock up that money and tie it to... It's irrevocable, I interrupted. That's the word you both like so much. Official. It means it cannot be revoked. It's my premarital asset. I can structure it however I want. Marjorie's face had gone blotchy, the color of a sunset that's losing oxygen. You conniving little... Mother, Marcus snapped. Stop. Then to me, you're punishing us for caring. I tilted my head. Caring? You staged an intervention about my portfolio. You wanted my passwords, my logins, my autonomy. That isn't care, Marcus. That's conquest. He opened his mouth, closed it, tried again. You're overreacting. She just wanted to help. Yes, I said, and now she's helping by existing. You should both be very invested in her well-being. The silence broke again, sharp and raw. Marjorie's voice cracked. Change it. Change it now, Nadia. I will not be some living asset in your sick little game. I stood, smoothing my dress. It's not a game. It's estate planning. She clutched her chest theatrically. My heart, Avery murmured. We can call an ambulance if you like. Marjorie glared daggers. You think this is funny? Not funny, I said. Efficient. Mr. Cole began collecting the signed documents, sliding them into a folder as precisely as a surgeon closing a wound. All signatures are complete, he said. The trust is executed. Congratulations, Mr. Bell. You are the sole beneficiary. Marcus slumped back into his chair, pale. So I get nothing. Not until... Mr. Cole read without looking up. Not until the death certificate of Mrs. Marjorie Eleanor Bell is received. All income is reinvested in the meantime. Avery stood. That concludes today's business. I reached for my purse. Thank you for your time. Wait, Marjorie rasped. You think you've won? I turned to her. There was never a competition, Marjorie. Only a ledger. Her mouth worked soundlessly. Marcus stood up too fast, knocking his chair backward. You're not leaving. You're not walking out after this humiliation. I met his eyes. Marcus, I'm walking toward silence. That's different. Avery placed a hand lightly on my arm. Our car's out front. Mr. Cole's assistant opened the door. I walked through it without looking back. In the elevator, Avery exhaled a quiet laugh. You really did it. Did I asked. Oh, absolutely. That was art. The elevator chimed. Lobby, freedom. We stepped outside into clean daylight. The city noise rushed in, raw and cleansing. Avery handed me an envelope. Copies of everything. I'll file the trust with the court today. Ironclad and public record. Perfect. You sure about the next step? She asked. Yes. Hotel? 3 nights booked. The house is in my name. Purchased 2015, before Marcus. He's not on the deed. Good. Then let the noise happen without you. I nodded. When I got to the hotel, I ordered room service and set my phone face down on the desk. It buzzed until the battery died, messages piling like broken glass. At midnight, I lay in the dark, listening to the muted hum of the air conditioner. For the first time in months, the sound didn't irritate me. It sounded like calm. The next morning, Avery texted a single line. Filed and sealed. They can't touch it. I typed back, let them try. By noon, my phone was on fire. 42 missed calls, 73 messages. Marcus, Marjorie, even his cousin. I didn't read them. But one voicemail came through before I blocked their numbers. Marjorie's voice, trembling and furious. You're sick, Nadia. You think you're clever, but you've just put a bounty on my life. Do you know what that does to a family? You've turned my son against me. You're evil." Then a pause, quieter, bitterly honest. "I hope you sleep with one eye open." The line clicked dead. I did sleep, but both eyes open, calm as a ledger closed for the night. Because I knew something she didn't. I hadn't turned her son against her. I'd just shown him the math. The quiet lasted 36 hours. Then the storm began. By Thursday, Marjorie had called my employer, my mother, and 2 of my college friends. Her script was polished. Nadia is a manipulative sociopath who put a death clause on my life and ruined my family. She sobbed. She shouted. She whispered. She even tried concerned citizen. My boss forwarded me the voicemail. "Sounds like personal business," he said gently. "And by the way, your Q3 report just saved the firm 6 figures. You're getting the bonus." I thanked him, muted my phone, and poured coffee over ice. When rage meets numbers, numbers win. Friday brought the letter. Avery slid it across my hotel desk, printed on cheap stock. "From a strip mall attorney named Ken Sharper," she said. "Brace yourself." The letter accused me of intentional infliction of emotional distress and fraudulent conveyance of assets. It demanded I dissolve the unconscionable trust immediately and pay $250,000 in damages for Marjorie's trauma. Avery smirked. "Shall I?" "Please." She wrote a single-sentence reply. "We look forward to deposing your clients regarding their financial expertise and original request for Ms. Greer's brokerage passwords." She hit send. The next day, Sharper vanished from the conversation like a bad review. But Marcus wasn't done. He showed up Saturday night at my house, the house I owned outright, with the new locks glinting in the porch light. When I opened the door a few inches, he looked smaller than I remembered. Unshaven, eyes rimmed red. "Nadia, please," he began, voice hoarse. "I was wrong. Mom's insane. She pushed me. I never wanted any of this." Classic apology cadence. Soft, wounded, practiced. I kept the door chain latched. "You sat beside her, Marcus. You called me difficult. You demanded access." "I know." He stepped closer, palms up. "But I love you. I don't care about the money. I just want us back." He blinked hard. "We can fix this. We can go to counseling. Just maybe dissolve the trust first, as a sign of good faith." There it was, the tell. "It's irrevocable," I said. The tears stopped instantly. He blinked once, recalibrating. "You won't even try," he hissed. "After 5 years, you'd throw us away for money?" "No, Marcus," I said quietly. "You threw me away for it. I'm just holding the receipt." He stared, jaw working, then spat. "You're unbelievable." "Correct." I closed the door. The latch clicked like punctuation. Sunday morning, Avery called. He tried to file a police report claiming financial abuse. "Let me guess," I said. They laughed. "Pretty much. Civil matter," they told him. "And now?" She hesitated, amused. "He and his mother aren't speaking." I smiled into my coffee. "How poetic." "Not just that," she added. "Marjorie's terrified. She thinks Marcus wants her dead to trigger the payout." I said nothing for a long moment. Then, he wanted velocity. By week's end, the neighborhood group chat had its own theories. Someone had seen Marcus pacing outside Marjorie's condo at midnight, shouting into his phone. Someone else swore Marjorie asked the pharmacist if multivitamins could be tampered with. The irony ripened faster than any dividend. They'd teamed up for control and ended up living inside the same panic. Marcus texted once more before I blocked him permanently. "You've turned her into a prisoner." I typed back, then deleted it. Because the truth didn't need my help. They were each other's wardens now. I spent that evening unpacking my duffel bag, putting everything back in its proper drawer. The house smelled like lemon cleaner and quiet. When the dishwasher clicked into off-peak at 12:01, the sound was steady again, like ballast. 3 weeks later, Avery sent me the final paperwork. Divisions finalized. Joint checking closed. The balance after utilities and lingering subscriptions, $2,812.47, split evenly. Marcus had insisted on keeping the couch. I let him. He'd already been sleeping on it for months before the trust. I signed, scanned, and filed the documents, then walked through my house barefoot, counting the quiet. No echo of footsteps that weren't mine. No perfume that didn't belong. No conversations about potential. When peace finally comes, it's not triumphant. It's just still. Marjorie's sister called me the next evening. "I shouldn't even be saying this," she whispered, "but it's bad." She explained that Marjorie now lives in constant dread. She refuses to eat anything Marcus prepares. She locks her bedroom door at night. According to the sister, Marjorie has started checking her pulse before bed. And Marcus? I asked. He calls her 5 times a day, she said. Texts her at dawn. Just checking in, Mom. Sends her articles about superfoods, heart health, long walks. It's unsettling. I imagined it. Marcus hovering, forced into the role of caregiver by his own greed. Marjorie flinching at every kindness, wondering if every smoothie is an insurance policy. They're trapped, the sister murmured. It's like you rewired their lives. I closed my eyes. No, I said softly. They wired it themselves. I just drew the diagram. Avery dropped by the following week, bringing her usual black coffee and a smile that could slice marble. You look lighter, she said. I deleted 72 voicemails yesterday, I said. It felt like exfoliation. She laughed. You know, I've drafted a lot of trusts. Yours is the only one that made someone start eating kale out of fear. I smiled. Fear has its dietary benefits. We sat on the porch, watching late afternoon sun soak into the street. You don't regret it? She asked finally. No. I traced the rim of my mug. The trust just made visible what was already true. They saw me as capital. I just let the numbers speak back. Avery nodded slowly. Still, most people would have yelled, fought, divorced. You turned it into paperwork. Paper doesn't shout, I said. It endures. 2 months later, a registered envelope arrived. A quarterly update from Claremont and Cole. The trust balance had grown 2.3%. Marjorie was still alive. Marcus was still waiting. I placed the statement in a labeled folder. Trust. Active. Then I closed the drawer and let it be. Outside, a storm. Somewhere beyond the neighborhood, distant thunder, low and private. I lit a candle, turned on the dishwasher, and felt the familiar hum begin at 12:01. Routine, rhythm, order. The hum became my heartbeat again. I thought about Marjorie's fear, about Marcus's restless monitoring, about how greed can turn love into surveillance. And I thought about freedom, the kind that doesn't need to announce itself, the kind that hums quietly under your own roof. People call what I did revenge. It isn't. It's accounting. Every betrayal has its balance sheet. They wanted control. I gave them cause and effect. The trust remains. So does the silence. And every night, as the machine hums its steady lullaby, I remind myself, no one thanks ballast until the boat lists. But when it does, ballast is the only thing that keeps you upright.